He's telling you he doesn't want to be messed with or stepped on with that rattle.
Sweet. We got one.
And this way you can take a whole bunch of data on the snake by using the tube.
Biologists canvassing Minnesota's bluff country examine a young timber rattlesnake.
That's a good indication that there's some reproduction going on, which is very good. That's what we want to see. Try not to put your hands down on the ground. Or if you do, you make sure you look first, because those snakes are pretty camouflaged.
Today, they're after adult snakes. The goal is to find adult females for a telemetry project aimed at tracking where the snakes spend their time.
We'll start looking this rock and going over this way, and this is where I've mostly seen the snakes, about halfway up the bluff.
Bluff specialist Jamie Edwards and local landowner Gary Brown comb a likely hillside.
Okay, I have one.
In the springtime, rattlesnakes come out of their dens and warm themselves on sunny rocks. It's a habit that opens them up to observation.
You see why this is a really good ledge, because he could be under there and see how far under it goes. So I don't think I'll get this one. They're fast though, so that means they're warming up. I'll have you look kind of along here, and I'll go up and look right above you here.
The bluff prairies that hold timber rattlesnakes are generally steep and rocky. Many in the area have been taken over by cedar trees or altered in other ways as human settlement advanced. On this site and others, the DNR has come in and cleared the land to give the snakes a better shot.
I mean, the populations are lower primarily as a result of the bounty and other habitat changes, and so it'll be interesting to see what the data actually tells us, if they like this stuff or if they like it more open. So,
the overall goal of this study is to figure out if the habitat work is paying off for the snakes.
Mostly there's like a kind of a line of rocks, and that's typically where we found them, so hopefully we'll find something. This feels pretty good.
A few miles away, Gary's land has responded quite well.
They wanted to clear cut the hillside of all the cedar trees. It was 5 years ago. 2 years ago up here we found 14 rattlesnakes. We've never had them in our yard. We've never had any trouble. It's turned out to be a very nice habitat for the snakes and the wildflowers and the native grasses and everything.
He's one of our first landowners that's enrolled in the landowner incentive program, and we've done some habitat work. He's been very supportive and enjoys the snakes. He's one of the few landowners that actually comes out with us and really embraces having snakes on his property, so it's really nice.
Soon enough, Jamie nets a big one.
Pretty good.
And launches the next phase of the telemetry project. The snake is carefully emptied into a squeeze box. Then the tail is drawn out the end for probing to make sure it's a female.
All right, I'm feeling resistance right there.
So that lets you know female?
Yes. Awesome. We'll paint each one different color, and that'll help for a quick reference.
Should dry quick.
That could be them. I bet you that's them.
Are those eggs?
Yeah. They'd be live, young, and they're in their own membrane sac. So
I mean, it looks to me like that's what that is.
At the veterinarian clinic in Rushford, her status is double-checked, and the operation begins.
I'll go ahead and hook it up then to the gas. Right down, yeah. I like it because keeps life interesting. I mean, and I've done a few of these. I've worked on an elephant once and these fish, and it makes the day more fun. It's like tissue paper, but it's like iron tissue paper. So actually, they're more delicate than I thought.
If all goes well, this snake will be implanted with a radio transmitter and released for future tracking. 3 weeks later, the crew has captured and radio tagged 12 snakes. More than 20 will carry transmitters this field season. So this time, as Jamie searches the hillside, she has a distinct advantage.
I point it right here. It's really loud. And then I hold it up in the air, and I'm not getting much signal, so she's not up there, so she's right down in here somewhere.
Sure enough, hidden at her feet is an adult timber rattlesnake. By plotting her location and movements over the course of the summer, researchers get a window on the habitat features snakes prefer. They'll use that information to make management decisions in the future.
Since the gravid females spend most of their time on a bluff, we figured they would be impacted the most. And they're one of the most critical components of the population because they are breeding, and so we wanted to see if we were impacting them. Oh, he's got, looks like two rattles.
Three.
Yeah, 2 or 3. There we go. Statewide, we do have bull snakes and fox snakes and garter snakes and things like that, and so it'll just be a nice indication for us how important certain types of cover are, whether it's grass or shrubs or trees or rocks or logs and those types of things. So it will help us tweak our management plans statewide probably, but more specifically for southeast Minnesota. Since we're the only part of the state with rattlesnakes, we get the unique opportunity to do stuff like this.
I'm going to preserve this hillside as long as I own it and my boys, whatever. There will always be rattlesnakes here if it's up to me.